right, we are going to go into tacking the horse, starting with an English saddle. As everybody knows, here at Southern Reins, the horses get assigned a number here in the cross tie pavilion. Their tack is going to be placed in on the number rack that matches the cross ties that they're supposed to go in. Today I have Jute in number 1 and the English saddle on number 1. I'm going to bring us over here to take a look at the different pads on the volunteer schedule. On the lesson schedule for the day, you're going to see a number of different pads. Today we're going to use what we call a square pad and a half pad, and this is the girth. Typically these are stacked on the saddle in the order that they're supposed to go on the horse, but I wanted to lay them out for you guys to see today. So I'm going to go on back over to the left side of the horse, and that's where I'm going to get everything started. As I was saying, all of this stuff would actually be stacked typically on top of your saddle right here. So we're going to start with our square pad. We're just going to drape it over, covering the withers mostly. Make sure that it's nice and even. We don't want it all the way covering their shoulder. So this is a really good spot. A good tell too is these keepers keep the girth in line, and so you can see that they are right there in line with where the girth should go. Next is going to be the half pad. These come in a variety of shapes, but this is a pretty typical shape. We're going to place this over the top, just like that, nice and even, and then the saddle's going to go right over the top of that. So we're going to pick that up off of our saddle rack, and we're going to try to just gently place it right over those pads, nice and evenly in the middle. You want to have about the same amount of pads sticking out in the back as the front, and then I usually like to tint the pads a little bit up into the gullet there. I'm going to go ahead and put my straps in the keepers. Make sure all my flaps are nice and straight. Nothing is stuck under the saddle. Again, going into those keepers. And then I'm going to begin putting my girth on. So with these dressage girths, they have a strap up the top that we're going to start taking our billet strap through. And usually I like to say to start about halfway up as far as the holes go, and you can always adjust a little bit. We want to have an even amount of girth on this side as we do on the other, but that's a good start. We're going to go back over to the left side. I'm going to carefully reach under, bring my girth over, and then I'm going to repeat sliding through that top strap and then going through my buckle. And I want to get this girth pretty snug. The instructor is always going to adjust tack based on their needs or what they think is best for the horse going into the lesson. But that is pretty snug, and we have a pretty nice little English tack set up. I'm going to then go ahead and tuck my billets into this other little strap here. And some of the girths have those and some of them don't. If they have keepers, I always say you should use them. But if you end up with tack that doesn't have keepers, it's perfectly acceptable to just have those straps out. All right, so that is our English tack set up for lessons here at Southern Reins. Okay, so we showed you how to put the English tack on, and now we're just going to go through the process of taking it back off. We're going to start with our first step from the tacking process. Our last step from the tacking process is going to be our first step here, and that's taking that girth off. Ooh. And we're going to go ahead and take our billets out of the keepers. Jude's got a little fly on him. All right. Come around to this side. I'm going to remove take these straps off, take those out of the keepers. At this point, you can lay your girth over the top of the saddle. If it's really sweaty during summer lessons or something like that, you would probably want to just go ahead and put the girth back on the rack first. And then actually now we can take everything off at once. We're going to lift a little and slide it off so we're not pulling on his back in the process. And then all of this stuff is just going to go right back over here to rack number 1. and you're just gonna leave it here. Horse leaders and team leaders will put the tack back in the tack room. So that is taking the English saddle back off.